Welcome to week 8 of the Sunshine Owl Cowl. Last week we completed the border of our blankets, and all that's left now is the centerpiece. We will make the body of the owl this week, and in our final week we will focus on the fiddly bits, that is the eyes, the beak and the final stitching. To get started, we're going to form a ring. You can either do it with the standard 4 chains joined with a slip stitch, or if you prefer with a magic circle. Magic circle is always my preference. I like to pull the work nice and tight in the center. We're now going to work 2 chains which form your first half double crochet. We then need to do another 12 half double crochets into your ring. Half double crochet, yarn over the hook once, into the circle, pull up a thread and pull through 2, over, into the circle, pull up a thread, pull through 2. So continue until you've done 11 half double crochets, and your first 2 chains will make it 12. If once you get to the end of the round, please join into the first stitch with a slip stitch, or you can use an invisible join. If anybody wants to see how to do an invisible join, wait for me and I will show you when we get to it. I've now done the required 12 half double crochets. I'm now going to fasten off, and to do an invisible join I'm going to simply pull that through like that. I'm then going to thread that onto a needle like that, and then we're going to come here. I'm going to join this, that is our first stitch there. I'm going to join it into the top of the second stitch there. You see I went through both loops. Then I'm going to come back to the final stitch there. I'm going to go just into the back loop, and then I'm going to come back here and anchor it in the first stitch over there and pull it up. Now get a really neat join, and if you see, if we count from this point here, and we count that being the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stitches clearly demarcated. Sometimes when you're using a slip stitch to join, it can be quite difficult to see the stitch because it does kind of split it. Okay. Please choose your next color, and I'll see you in a 2 calls for us to do a double crochet, 1 chain into each stitch. We're going to land up with a dozen of those. You can join in your preferred method. My preferred method, and I'm going to demonstrate this, is a standing half double crochet. So what we do is we start with a slip stitch. Okay, round once. Do you see how I'm holding that with that hand just to keep it nice and firm? And then into any one of those stitches from the previous row, and then 1, 2, double crochet made, then 1 chain and into the next stitch, double crochet, and do the same all the way around until you have 12 double crochets and 12 1 chain spaces. When you have that, you can then join into the top of your first stitch, either with a slip stitch or with the invisible stitch, whichever is your preference. I will see you. You can then fasten off as well. We're going to change color. I will see you moving on to round 3. If your preferred method of joining is using 2 chains as your starting stitch, then you will start off by making 2 chains and a starting cluster. If you are happy to make a standing double crochet, then we will carry on as follows. So yarn over, I've already got a slip stitch on the hook, yarn over into my first chain space, and don't complete the double crochet, just pull off 2 loops. Second double crochet into the same space. Oops, I nearly went too far. And a third one. This is a double crochet cluster. And then we'll finish off by pulling through all of those. You see it takes 3 stitches down into one effectively. And then we're going to do 2 chain and another cluster into the next chain space. So 1, 2 and 3, and take them all off. 2 chains and another into the 1 chain space. Please continue all the way around. If your work is starting to look a little bit of a cup shape, don't worry too much about it. It will resolve itself as we go along. When you get to the end of the row, please do your final 2 chain and then join into the top, either with a slip stitch or with your invisible join. You can fasten off. We will be using a different color in the next round, and I will see. Moving on to round 4. It's a very similar round to round 3, the only difference being that between our clusters we're going to put 3 chains. So use your preferred method of starting the round. I'm going to do it with the standing double crochet, and I'm going to go into there. And because I'm doing the double crochet cluster, I'm not going to do that final stitch. So there we've got 2, and there we've got 3. Take them all off for our cluster. 1, 2, 3, and then into the next 2 chain space from the previous round, another cluster. 2 and 3. Take them all off. 3 chains, 2, 3. Do this until you've got 12 of those clusters around the circle. Please do stop to count so that we don't land up having to rip a whole lot of work out and waste a whole lot of time. One of the most important things in getting any crochet work right is stopping to count. So carry on in that manner until you're back there. Join with your preferred method. Fasten off, because yet again we're going to be changing color, and I will see you for the beginning of round 5. At the end of round 4, you will find that your work is curling quite significantly. Don't panic about that, it will sort itself out. The next round is very straightforward. We're going to be working 5 half double crochets in each of the 3 chain spaces all the way around. So I'm starting with a standing half double crochet, and this one can be a little bit tricky, but if you just grab hold of that little end there, it's quite easy to get it through. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 half double crochets. Then moving to the next 3 chain space, and another 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Continue until you are all the way around to this starting point, and there you can again join your preferred joining method. And at the end of this row you should have 60 of these half double crochets. Please take a moment to count, because it will affect rows later on. I'll see you at the end of row 5. You should have your 60 half double crochets, and your work should be starting to now flatten itself out. Working on row 6, we're going to be working in those stitches there for each of our repeats. The first stitch being this one here. Just remember that the loop of a stitch always falls just to the right of it. It's very easy to get into the wrong stitch if you don't realize that. So we're going to do a standing double crochet into that stitch there, and then a second double crochet into the next stitch. we should now be at the third stitch, which is this one here, and into that we're going to work a popcorn. Popcorn comprises of 5 double crochets worked into the same stitch, 2, 3, 4 and 5. To complete the popcorn, pull up a bit of a long loop to prevent you pulling it out by accident, and then count back on your stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our 5th stitch there. Push your hook through to the back and go and fetch that loop and complete the popcorn like that, and finally do 1 chain to just close off that popcorn. That chain's quite important. Be careful that you don't miss the next stitch. You see, if your work is like that, you might easily miss the next stitch. Just pull it slightly to the side, and into the next stitch work a double crochet and another double crochet. Right, we're now back at the same point where we started there, so we do another double crochet. We're starting our little repeat again, and another double crochet. So we got a popcorn, 4 double crochets, and then another popcorn. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Pull up a loop, go back to your 5th double crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't have to count every time. You will instinctively know where it is after doing a few. And then again back to our 4 double crochets before we do our next popcorn. Continue like this until you're at the end of the row and join. You can fasten off and then just double check that you have 12 popcorns and 4 double crochets in between each, so it'll be 48 double crochets. And I will see you for round 7. At the end of round 6 you should have 12 popcorns and 48 double crochets. The next round is very straightforward. We're simply going to work 1/2 double crochet in each stitch. We should end up with 60 half double crochets. So I'm doing a standing half double crochet because I can do it into any stitch, and pull it through, and half double crochet all the way around. Get that one again. And now just be careful when you get to this point here. This here is not a stitch. If you work in that one, you're going to land up with too many stitches all the way around. So we're going to do one more in that stitch. We have 4 there, and then we're going to skip this little one there. You see that one, and work in the next one there. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 there. The reason I've been counting to 5 is that between each of the popcorns there should be 5. There's 12 popcorns, you will then have 60. Okay, so again skipping this one there, which is the closing of that popcorn. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, work that all the way around and join and fasten off, and I will see you for the next round shortly. At the end of row 7 we should have our 60 half double crochets all the way around. Vanessa has now suggested that we skip round 8 and come back to that after we've done round 9. Now this round is a very straightforward one. We're going to be doing V stitches, and we're going to join in any of our half double crochets from the previous round, And I'm going to start with a standing double crochet, 1 chain and another double crochet to complete the V-stitch. Pretty straightforward. We've done this in the body of the blanket, so it's not new to us. Skip 1 and into the next stitch do another V. Skip 1 and do another V. You're going to continue like this all the way around. Join, fasten off, and then we will go back to the previous round and complete that. Now completed round 9 of the Sunshine Owl cowl. We skipped round 8 at Vanessa's suggestion. We're now going to go back to round 8 and we're going to join onto the post of any of the stitches of round 7 and slip stitch across each stitch. So what we're going to do is go to round 7 and slip stitch. I've gone upper hook size for this particular row because I don't want to work too tight here. And then go to the next stitch and slip stitch and go to the next stitch and go behind the post and slip stitch. All we're doing is putting a little border in like that. And let's do another couple with you. Go behind the stitch and slip stitch. If you can't slip stitch in one movement, it's okay, do it in 2. And just remember to go back down to your normal hook size at the end of this. You can also work with the normal hook and just keep it quite loose as you go. So this is what we are going to end up with. So carry on all the way around to the first one and then join there, and I will see you for the edging there. Remember to go back to the smaller hook size if you did change hooks as I recommended. If you didn't, then just carry on as you were. We're now going to go to any of our chain spaces from our V-stitch and we're going to do 3 half double crochets into there. Try that again. 2 and 3. Okay, so 3 into there, then into this stitch here, which is the first stitch of the next V, another half double crochet. So into the one chain space, 1, 2 and 3 half double crochets, and then into the 1. So do that all the way around, and I will see you when you get to the beginning. We should have 120 half double crochets at the end of this round. You can join and fasten off, and I will see you for the round 11. Round 10 is now completed and you should have 120 half double crochets. Next round, which is round 11, is everybody's favorite, and that is back post single crochet. So go around the back post and pull up a loop. It doesn't want to come through, and single crochet around the back loop, pull up a loop and continue all the way around until you have 120 of these. At least it's not a very long row like some of the ones that we worked in the final rounds of the border on the actual blanket. So work all the way around to there, fasten, join and fasten off, and I'll see you for the next round. At the end of round 11 you should have 120 single crochets. Round 12 is going to consist of doing 3 double crochets together over 3 stitches separated by 2 chains. So what we're going to do is we're going to join in any of our, and we're going to do a partial double crochet in the first stitch and another partial double crochet in the second stitch and a third one in the third stitch, and then we're going to finish it off like that. 2 chains, and again into the next stitch a partial double crochet. We're doing 3 together, so we don't quite complete each double crochet, and when we have our 3 we finish it off and do 2 chains. Continue all the way around until you get to this point, finish off with 2 chains and joining. You can then fasten off because we will be using a different color for the next round. At the end of round 12 you should have 40 of these double crochet 3 together and 40 chain 2 spaces. Next round is very straightforward. All we're going to do is we're going to work 3 half double crochets in each of the 3 chain spaces. At the end of the round we will end up with 120 half double crochets. So there we go, 1, 2 and 3, and I'm playing yarn chicken here. I may suddenly have to go back and redo this row, and you will see it when we move on to the next row. Here's hoping I have just enough. I'll see you a little bit later. At the end of round 13 we should have 120 half double crochets all the way around. I made it with the green, so I'm very pleased. We're now into another yarn chicken row, so let's see how we go. Round 14 consists of doing single crochet in 3 of the stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then a front post double crochet. Let me do that again. 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then a front post double crochet around the stitch here. Okay, so I'm going to start with a standing single crochet as I normally do. Just be careful that you do find the right stitch. It'll always be the stitch slightly to the left of the post. So it's 1. If you don't get into the right stitch, you're going to land up with a slant on your front post double crochet, which would be a pity. Okay, and then just make sure that you find the right stitch, which will be slightly hidden, and 1, 2 and 3. It's just where I've joined and I haven't finished off properly yet, and around that one. Again, find that little stitch that will be hidden away. This one's avoiding me. 1, 2 and 3, and okay, carry on, and when you get to the end, join and fasten off, and I will see you for at the end of round 14. You should have 40 front post double crochets and 120 single crochets. We're now on to the final round of the body of our owl, and this one is very straightforward. All we're going to do is do a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So I'm starting with a standing single crochet, and I've got a split there, and then just working all the way around and single crochet until you at your starting point here. Join, fasten off, and sew away any of the ends that are still left that need doing, and I will will see you for the final round of this cowl next week. Have a lovely week.